Hello, beautiful you. My t-shirt says, be beautiful. And by beautiful, I mean the most attractive thing in the universe. I'm not talking about something like sexy, like beyond sexy. The ultimate attractive thing in the universe is God. And rumor has it that you are made in the image and likeness of God, which means you are unspeakably beautiful, just like your creator. Welcome. So this is going to be part 2 in my sharing of how I came to Christian Universalism. So if you haven't seen part 1, you might want to check that out. So I was guided to this website about Christian Universalism. It's just such a strong yes to it, and such a, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for my whole life. But it didn't sink in immediately. But a seed was planted, and every now and then I would go and revisit that website and do a little reading, but something wasn't quite grabbing me. And a lot of it had to do still with my aversion to the organized religion of Christianity. But one thing did grab my attention. As I started to do research, I came across the proposition, which I believe is accurate, that a majority of early Christians were Universalists. The first mention that they have of an eternal hell isn't until 180 AD. And that's by one particular out of Africa. I think his name's Tertullian. And it was a complete mistranslation. He didn't like Greek, and he mistranslated the Greek word aeon, and not a very savory guy either. Like it gave him delight to think of his opponents like eternally roasting in hell. Like that made him happy. But so that really grabbed me. Oh my. So for 150 years after Jesus left, we have no record of a single person talking about eternal hell. And so we have this one guy, and then another guy, and then I think there was one other person who made like a passing reference to it. And then along comes Augustine. And so this is where it got really interesting for me. So this person, Tertullian, again, I think his name was, he was in Africa, and he was part of what would be, he was a member of the church that would eventually become the Roman Catholic Church. So then along came St. Augustine, who's also reading the Bible in Latin, hasn't looked closely at the Greek. And Augustine is like, yes, hell is eternal. And he was like the first person to really say yes. And like it made a stamp, like other people started to follow him. And then of course the Roman Emperor Justinian ordered the Catholic, but it still wasn't an official dogma until a Roman emperor ordered that it be made a dogma, and that universal reconciliation be declared a heresy. When I finally connected all the dots of the history, and those aren't all the dots, but those are the main dots, I was in shock. And that's when it hit me that from a historical perspective, that's what the gospel, that's what the good news was, universal reconciliation, until it was stamped out by the Catholic Church. So that was the next huge step for me. So first it started with my heart, and then the next step was the historical perspective. And in my next video, I'll talk about the scriptural component for me. Thank you so much for dropping by. Big love and big day of big day. I wish everyone a day of communing with God and being guided. Life goes so much smoother and wonderful when we're guided by higher power. Take care. Big love.